Hi guys, welcome to the David Review Show. Once again, for the power of the internet. You guys remember this girl, don't you? Maxie. Her head's down, but hey, say hi to the camera. Hi everybody, hi mommy. You guys remember the cat? Remember Maxie from the last videos? She's tired right now. Well, I have a real bad cold. I've been having a sinus infection, but that doesn't stop me for filming for you guys tonight. It's been a while. It's been a long while since you guys have seen me on camera. I think about a few months, and that's been a long, long time. I mean, we haven't seen each other since the Vince McMahon video. I think that was the last video I did for you guys, and it's been a while since you've seen me on camera. And that's not good, and I haven't been filming at all. Sorry about that. There's been a lot of things going on with work and just life in general, you know what I mean? I had softball, I've had soccer, I've had a lot of things going on, trips with Thrive and everything. My life's pretty much full right now, you know, so there's been a lot going on. And I'm sorry I haven't been able to film for you guys. Bring Special Olympics videos, WWE videos to you. Or anything like that to you guys. And especially showing the cat. Which has been a while. But that's all going to change tonight. Tonight is actually going to be a video. It was supposed to be a continuation of Vince, but since the documentary's come out, and he also made a documentary, I really don't think should be a continuation to the story, because everybody knows what the documentary was about, and pretty much saw everything that was said that needed to be said about him, knowing that he is who he is, a pervert. Pretty much Vince McMahon is who he says he is, and he never friggin' openly admitted what he did. He actually left the interview area. I'll get into all that. The documentary of Vince McMahon, was it good? Yeah, some of it was. I have to admit that I enjoyed it very vividly. I did see it. I have Netflix, as everybody knows. I have a prescription, so I got to see it. I've been a long-time fan of the Attitude Era, so I know Vince McMahon for a long time. I've watched Vince since Hulk Hogan, the Macho Man, Randy Savage, Andre the Giant. I mean, since the 80s, I've known McMahon. So I've known McMahon all the way up until now. The documentary was really good. It dove into a lot of things that I didn't know about Vince. His relationship with his father wasn't very good. Him and his father had a bumpy relationship. Vince was beaten when he was young. I never knew that. His mother was in an abusive relationship. His father, he had to earn his father's trust to get into the wrestling business. You know, a lot of those things were in the documentary. If you want to see him, it's on Netflix. So Vince, I never knew these things about Vince. Vince being beaten, Vince having trouble with his father, trying to get his father's approval. Vince built a company can't take that away from him. One of the best promoters, you can't. I'll say that about Vince. He's a great promoter. But what he did was wrong. You know, I won't take anything against Vince McMahon for being one of the best promoters in WWE. I won't take that away from him. But what he went through to get there, he had I never knew Gorilla Monsoon wanted to own the company. I never knew that. Monsoon was supposed to be the one that was supposed to be the parent owner of WWE. See, Vince McMahon wasn't supposed to get the company. Gorilla Monsoon was. That's what I found out in the documentary. But Vince McMahon wanted a product. He wanted to make the wrestling industry bigger and broader than what it was when he bought out all those territories like Vern Gagne, ADW, not ADW, I mean NWA, all those territories that Vince bought out. Vince did that. He bought out Vern Gagne. He took out Vern. His father didn't want to interfere with Bret the Hitman, Stu's Hart's promotion, all the Atlanta, Georgia's promotions, any of those, because they were their own entities at the time. But Vince did that. He went down to those promotions and he took wrestlers like the Big Boss Man, Hulk Hogan, the Honky Tonk Man, Roddy Piper. You name it, the list goes on and on and on and on. Vince McMahon did all that. Could you blame Vince? No. At that time was the 80s. Vince needed a culture to grow his wrestling organization at that time. His father was trying to make it different with Monsoon by not interfering with those territories. Now, he could have done that. Vern Gagne hated Vince. Number one, because Vince took away all his top stars. Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, you name it. Vince took him. Great the Hammer Valentine, Big Boss Man, all of them, right? Honky Tonk Man, all of them, right? But Macho Man as well. But they all became stars in WWE. Even Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. What do you think Vince was going to do? Make wrestling a crappy juggernaut? No. He wanted to make it bigger. And he did. Look at WrestleMania 1. I mean, he made that a juggernaut. And I can't take anything away from Vince at that time. He was young. He wasn't the pervert that he is now. But look at the juggernaut that he made. He made a juggernaut of wrestling. A culture that grew over time. WrestleMania after WrestleMania. I mean, think about it. WrestleMania 1. One of the best WrestleManias ever. That grew into WrestleMania 2. And then Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant. The list goes on and on and on. Vince McMahon talked about all that and how he built the wrestling organization that he didn't want to be like his father. He wanted to put wrestling into television, and he did. Saturday Night's Main Event, if everybody remembers that. We remember Saturday Night's Main Event, where it was on NBC like every other Saturday or every other weekly Saturday. And then Vince McMahon, he wanted to put it on television. Then it went to television, Saturday night, NBC. That was the first time WWE was on television. It wasn't on weekly like his father had. But he got his father's approval. His dad did love him. And then you got Shane and Stephanie. They come into the fold. They wanted to be in the business. Then you get into the days of what really happened late in the 90s. The steroid epidemic. Now, back in them days, like the late 80s and the late 90s, steroids was illegal, which I never knew. Hogan took it. I never knew that. Hulk Hogan took steroids. I never knew that. I'm disappointed in Hulk for that. But Hogan openly admitted it. Warrior took steroids. Randy took steroids. All of them did. Don't care who did it. Even Triple H. They took steroids because they were sick all the time. They took barbiturates because they were sick. If you watch that movie with, a lot of people don't, I think a lot of people know it. It's a great movie. It's called The Wrestler. What the hell is that guy's name? Ricky Rourke. Watch that movie, The Wrestler, with Mickey Rourke. That movie goes into every detail of everything that a wrestler's life went through. Now, Mickey Rourke's movie is great because it shows how a wrestler would live in the olden days. Now, it showed Mickey Rourke doing drugs. It showed Mickey Rourke doing the barbiturates and the steroids. That's what they were doing in the olden days. They were taking barbiturates and steroids to keep the pain off them. Hulk Hogan, back in them days, they didn't have the trailers like they do now. They don't have the trailers like they do now. They don't have all the days off like they do now. They were working Bret Hart, Hulk Hogan, Macho Man. I mean, all the top stars, they were working about maybe 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, no days off at all. Because Vince worked them like a dog. They had to work because Vince told them to work. And they got banged up. I mean, Christ, look at Bret. He took so many bumps. I couldn't believe how many bumps Bret took. Or Hogan, for that matter. Or even Macho Man. All of them. Even Andre. They were working more hours. Even Warrior. They were working more hours for Vince than anybody. And that SOB didn't even give him a day off or a friggin' raise for all the crap. Well, he probably did once in a while. He never praised Hogan. But they took steroids. I don't blame Vince for that because back then it was illegal. Vince was taking them too. They all were. Watch the documentary. Jason, you got to see this. It's really interesting. But it goes back to what I'm saying. They were illegal back then. Maxie, if you attack my hand, you're going to be going into the room. It goes back to what I was saying. They were illegal back then. So Vince McMahon made them work all those days a week. So they never had really time. But like I said, it goes back to that movie, Mickey Rourke, The Wrestler. Watch that movie. And also watch this documentary. It's really good. But Vince, you can't blame Vince for all that. People are blaming Vince for all this. No, don't blame Vince. Vince didn't put a needle in their arm. They did that themselves. You can't blame Vince for that. They did that themselves. I don't blame Vince for the steroids. They did that. They chose to do the steroids. Vince didn't force them. They did that themselves. No one tells you, oh, take a drink. No, you either want that booze or you don't. You understand? It's like going to a store. Oh, I want this, Mommy, but no, I want this. No, I want this. You know, you can't force someone. If someone says, oh, I want this, okay, I'll buy it for you. So the person wants it. Vince didn't take a steroid. Tell them to do steroids. They chose to do steroids. They chose. That was their decision. It's easy for the fans to say, oh, Vince did it. No, Vince didn't do it. They did it. They did it. They did it. Not Vince. Let me get a drink of water. It might help. Vince did it. They didn't. Vince did. Give me a minute, guys. Who is it? It's me. Get out of here. Doing a video. I want to come in. No, you're not. Get out of here. Oh, come on, Dave. Get out of here. I'm doing a video. Hi, Maxie. Get out of here. I'm doing a video. I'll be back. No, you won't. Get out. Open the door. No. Open the door. I'm coming in. No, you're not. Get out of here. I'm doing a video. Cuban Sam. Freaking idiot. Thought I'd make you guys laugh for a minute. I'll be back. No, you won't. Randy Orton. Randy Orton, my butt. Get out of here. You jerk. Yeah, call me a jerk. Call me the P word, everything. I'll be back and I'll steal your PlayStation 4 when you're sleeping. Yeah, how you gonna do that? The door's locked. Freaking Cuban crook. Anyways, back to what I was saying. No one forces you to do that stuff. Thought I'd make you guys laugh. No one forces you to do that stuff. Okay? Nobody. But yourself. You know? And that's the thing. When Vince didn't force him to do steroids. Now we're going to get into another part of the documentary, which is the Attitude Era. And that's really where this place takes a good turn. Get down. You're not coming up here. I'm filming. That way. That way. So we're going to get into the other part of the documentary now, where the Attitude Era comes in. Now, this was a 6-part, I think, documentary. It went into parts. I don't know why Netflix did that. They didn't do a whole documentary, which is okay with me. I'm just reviewing it. The Attitude Era. Everybody remembers the Attitude Era. Bret Hart getting screwed. We all know about the Montreal screw job. We already know about Bret Hart getting screwed. Vince McMahon. All that stuff. So, we get into the Montreal screw job. Where Vince kinda, I wouldn't want to say he makes a change because WCW, Ted Turner took Hulk Hogan, Macho Man Randy Savage, and all his wrestlers from him, and also Kevin Nash and Scott Hall. They didn't leave because of Ted Turner. They left because of personal reasons. They want to make more money in WCW. Now, Hogan left because of personal reasons. I don't know the reasons. Maybe the steroids or whatever was going on at the time. Hogan left because he didn't want to deal with the stuff that Vince was doing. Now, the documentary talked about WCW. I'll get into the graphic stuff at the end, but that's going to be Prentice Augustus Rice. But the documentary, I'll mention Pat at the end. The documentary talked a little bit about Hulk Hogan and Vince's a lot about Hulk Hogan and Vince and their relationship gone sour. Now, Vince was mad at Hogan because Hogan walked out. Hogan walked out on Vince. I don't know the real reason. There was a lot of bitterness between the two of them. I think there was a reason why Hogan walked out on Vince. Number one, Hulk Hogan I think Hulk Hogan wanted more money. and he wasn't getting that at WWE. And he thought he could get more money from Ted Turner, and he did. Hogan wanted to be in WCW, and he did. He got this match with Flair and all that stuff. Hogan wanted to go to WCW. Now, the WCW days with the NWO was kicking Monday Night Raw's ass. Excuse my language, people. It was kicking Monday Night Raw's ass back in the olden days. I'm sorry. Sorry, babe. But it was kicking Monday Night Raw's butt every week. You guys remember the Monday Night Wars. We already know that. And WCW was really ranking in. If you saw the video, the ratings went up for WCW. They were beating Raw. Literally beating Raw at its best. Vince McMahon could not compete with when the NWO came in. He couldn't compete with it because Eric Bischoff brought in all that stuff. He brought in the new stuff. The WWE was still kid friendly. Nobody wanted to see that anymore. Everybody knew that had to change. Doink the Clown, Crush, and Hulk Hogan, say your prayers, eat your vitamins. Nobody cared about that anymore. Nobody wanted to see that anymore. Nobody cared. They wanted something different. So that's why Eric Bischoff brought in the NWO, Hulk Hogan, Hall, Nash, all of them. And Hall and Nash and Hogan brought in a new era of wrestling that was adults. Nobody cared about the kid stuff anymore. They wanted an attitude era. Vince was still doing kid-friendly stuff. Nobody wanted to see that anymore. And Vince was not changing. That's why Raw was going down and down and down and down and down until Bret Hart came back. That's when Vince thought of something. Stone Cold Steve Austin, Bret the Hitman Hart, The Undertaker, Mankind, Triple H, Shawn Michaels. All pioneers joined the WWE Attitude Era. That's what brought it in. That's what started it. The spark that lit WCW. Now, Eric Bischoff can say all he wanted, that Vince McMahon copied him, blah, 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 the Montreal Screwjob, blah, blah, blah. That was the day the McMahon character was born. The Montreal Screwjob when he screwed Bret Hart. That was the day the Vince McMahon character was born on TV. There isn't no difference between Vince being in Gorilla, doing all the creative stuff backstage when he was in creative, up until now, when he's not in creative anymore. Now Triple H is in, but when Vince was in creative, he was Vince McMahon. He was the villain, the boss, on camera, and he was the boss off camera. But there's difference between Vince the villain and Vince the character and Vince the man. There's two different similarities. They're not the same people. Vince was acting. And Eric Bischoff sits there and says, well, he copied everything from WC. No, he didn't. DX wasn't a ripoff of the NWO. Stone Cold wasn't a ripoff of Goldberg. Bret Hart wasn't definitely a ripoff of anything else that Vince was doing. Vince was kicking Bischoff's butt every week. And WWE beat Bischoff. Now, a lot of the things that Bischoff did wrong was what Warner Brothers in and all those executives in and make all those dumb mistakes. That's what Bischoff did wrong. Bischoff doesn't take any blame for that. Yes, he does, because he owned the company. He let all those executives in, all those terrible writers, ruin his company.
When you don't got good writers, you don't got a good product. That's why Vince was winning. Eric let all those yes men in. He let all those people in because he didn't have a product anymore. He was literally doing so well until he decided, well, I'm going to change this, I'm going to change that, and made it a goofy show. WCW was a joke. After Vince decided to do the Attitude Era, WWE became a joke. WCW became a joke. Nobody cared about the NWO anymore. No one cared about Sting anymore. Nobody cared about Bret Hart when he came to WCW. Everybody was watching the WWE part because of Stone Cold Steve Austin and Shawn Michaels and The Rock was coming in and Triple H was in there. And Vince McMahon was bringing in the corporation, DX, all that stuff. The McMahon-Helmsley era was in there. It was awesome. And Bischoff has the audacity to say that Vince copied him. Hey, Bischoff, you had a different entity. The NWO was a different entity. DX was a different entity. There's two different scenarios here. Maybe a little bit darker than DX. I have to say that. I don't know what Bischoff's talking about. Screw you, Bischoff. But anyways, so Vince won the Monday Night Wars. We'll go into that. Vince won the Monday Night Wars. Vince won. And he took down WCW. Then you get into the Recognition Era and all that stuff and all the other stuff that he did. You can see it on the documentary. It goes on and on. I only went into bits and pieces of it. Now we're going to get into this. He didn't talk about the accusations. He left. When they got into the sex accusations, he left the interview. Yep, Jason, he didn't talk about it. He left the chair. He left. He didn't want to talk about it. He's a coward. He's horrible. He belongs in jail. I thought he would be open about it. I thought he'd just say, hey, look, I want to apologize to that woman. Maybe I made some mistakes and I apologize. I'm an old man. I'm a pervert. I made some mistakes. He didn't even do that. He didn't even apologize. He left the interview. That shows me right there that he doesn't take any accountability for what he did. He doesn't take any accountability for anything. He doesn't take any accountability. You know what? He's better off being out of WWE. He is. We're better off without you. You don't want to take any accountability for what you did, you pervert. You left the interview? You wouldn't answer, but you answered everything else. When they asked you the tough questions about Benoit, you answered those pretty good. Benoit did not die because of steroids. Benoit died because of concussions to the head. But when they asked him those questions, he answered those pretty perfectly. But when they asked him about the sex accusations, he didn't want to answer those. He didn't want to answer about Ashley Mazzaro. He didn't want to answer about the girl that he did those acts with, huh? He didn't want to answer that question, did he? Dirtbag to the end. You belong in prison. I'm sorry, you do. I don't know why you're not in jail, Vince. And then you go on Twitter and say, oh, Netflix coerced me into talking about that. Excuse me, you did the documentary. You did the interviews. Even the interviews were before that. You did interviews in 2021 and 2022. The dates were there on the videos on Netflix, Vince. They were there. So obviously, you were doing those interviews before the first accusation came out. You stepped down, and then you came back, and then more accusations came out, and then Ariel fired you. We're better with Triple H. It's a lot better now. The product's better. We're a lot better under Triple H and Ariel, Manuel, and TKO. We're doing a lot better. Now understand Bruce. He likes Vince. I have to respect Bruce for that. He said something about Vince. Vince helped his wife. Okay, I can understand that. They were best friends. That's understandable. I can't down Bruce Pritchard for that. Bruce liked Vince, okay, because he helped him with his wife when his wife was sick. Now, Vince was a good guy to Bruce, okay? I don't know their friendship. Bruce said, hey, look, I like him. Okay, Bruce was honest about that. I don't like Vince McMahon. I liked Vince a long time ago during the Attitude Era. I don't anymore. I lost a lot of respect for Vince. Because he could have just did something. He could have said something like, look, I made a mistake. I have to live with that for the rest of my life. And I made some mistakes. I'm not proud of them. But at least I'm being open and honest about it now. That's all he had to say. Simple and sweet. Did he do that? No. He got up from his chair and he left. This is what he did. This is what he did. So we're going to ask you about the sex accusations, Vince. Goodbye, this interview's over. That's what he did. He left. His chair was empty, like this. The chair was empty. I'm walking away now. The chair was empty, like that. The chair was empty. He wasn't in it. Perfect to the end. I don't like Vince. Vince, I thought you would be open and honest about everything to the end. But obviously you weren't. WWE is doing a lot better under Triple H. There, I said it. WWE is doing a hell of a lot better than it's ever done. Look at WrestleMania. It was sold out. Look at Bash and Berlin, sold out. Money in the Bank, sold out. SummerSlam, sold out. Elimination Chamber, sold out. Sold out. Going across seas. I mean, they're doing so much better now than they ever did. Their product is hot, and they're going on Netflix in a few months. You can't deny what they're doing. You can't deny that. So all I can say is I'm happy for WWE. I'm glad Vince is gone, because obviously Vince did not open up, because he's obviously he's a coward. He will not admit to what he did. So that's all I have to say about Vince. So I'm going to go now. I will be back for more videos, guys. I will definitely get back into football and basketball and more Special Olympics for you. I am sorry I haven't been filming lately. It's just been a real rough couple of months. I know it's been a while, but I'm back now, and I'm going to get back into filming. I hope you can understand me. I got a real bad sinus infection right now, so it's hard for me to talk. I'm glad you got to see the cat tonight. So I'm going to close this and say,
Hope you guys really enjoyed this video. I'll let Maxie say goodbye to you. Let's take it for a little ride. Want to say goodbye to Maxie? Say bye, YouTube. Maxie wants to say bye. Bye, YouTube. Bye, Mommy. Bye, everybody. That's the kitty. She loves you guys. And I want to say goodbye to you guys. Like, subscribe, comment, favorite. Don't forget, put Jesus first. And don't forget, support Special Olympics. Bye for now.